I am but a satellite.
So first of all, if you look at Einstein, he's got some really weirdness about his personal life. He his first wife, Miliva, that's his first wife. And he was supposedly a ladies' man and had multiple affairs, supposedly even with Marilyn Monroe. And he had an affair with this lady, which is Elsa, who actually happens to be his cousin. Cousin on both sides, his mom and dad. Figure that one out. And he leaves this lady, air quotes, for this lady, air quotes. And that's who let's see if we get out of this. So that's who he ends up marrying. And where is it? Let's see. Yeah, she was both his first cousin on his mother's side and his second cousin on his father's side. Nothing weird about that, is there? But yeah, so that's his personal life. It's all craziness. But we know very little about the guy. And every single time, prove me wrong. I've looked. This is the second time that I've done this observation. And you will never find Einstein writing equations on the board. You will never find Einstein discussing relativity, the theory he created, without reading from something.
Princeton University lives New Jersey's most famous
So
foreign-born.
it was already written. He just moved the pencil or the chalk down, and then he goes and sits down. That's the closest I've ever found to him writing on a chalkboard. But again, he's not doing anything. He's just setting the chalk down. Okay? I know, that's just one. That's just one. All right? Then you've got, here he is again. It's already written. He's just standing next to it. And then he makes mistakes. If he did write this, he writes on the board all these multiples of 9, and then he gets to 9 times 10 and writes 91. And he was ridiculed for it. So, and then he says, of course, he did it on purpose. Whatever. So you got that. Here he is again. It's like you never see it. And the whole thing about him always having the same outfit and same suit, it could just be that it was one big photo shoot. And it went on for however many weeks or months, and they got everything they needed. Because it's always, and I know that one's not where he was when he made that face, but that's really the only thing you see is his face. That one's obviously fake. But where is it? And here, how about this? Here's 9 Albert Einstein quotes that he never said. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expected results. Everything is energy. That's all there is to it. He never said any of these things. International law only exists in textbooks. Evil is a result of what happens when man does not have God's love presence in his heart. It's like all of these things that are attributed to him. Now they come out and say he didn't say anything. So once again, it's like he's a myth in the stuff that he did. Yeah. And then when you look at, like, here he is, he created the theory of relativity, right? Now, I give speeches and stuff. I've done it in the past. If it's something I'm familiar with, just like this, I can talk. I don't have like scripted things in front of me to read. He wrote the theory of, he created it, and he only reads it.
It followed from the special theory of relativity that mass and energy are both.
Why couldn't he just Shouldn't have just come off the top of his head. It's the only thing he's known for. He's obviously older at this point. They said he had no memory. He had very limited memory. So he's making mistakes on the chalkboard. He has no, I swear it sounds like Biden other than with crazy hair. But he can only
different
read it.
manifestations of the same.
He can only read it. I don't think he did anything. He was just the figurehead. Now, here's another one. He's reading
Created by man himself.
his own theory.
We are concerned
Reading, once again.
with an act of humanity.
He's just reading. He's reading. He doesn't ever look up from the page. It's just how it is. And
These victims to their misery.
never found a comb in his entire life. Just has this bird nest in his hair. He was an agnostic. He didn't believe in God, of course. He loved to smoke. They said he has a bad memory. Oh, and after he died, they stole his brain. They removed his brain for study. And the guy, I think his name was Dr. Frankenstein. He kept the brain for his own personal research. He gets fired because he refuses to hand over Einstein's brain. And he said it was just normal brain. He dissects it into 200 pieces. And he sends it to different people. They found one of the areas was like 15% larger or something. And now it's on display. I think it's, in Philadelphia. But they cut up in 200 pieces. So what in the heck is on display? Did they put it back together like a jigsaw puzzle? They also pulled out his eyes. And they're locked in a safety deposit box in New York City. The story gets weirder and weirder. And of course, he's the reason that we, have all these theories on space, and he's involved in like nuclear weapons, which don't get me started on that. That's a whole other rabbit hole you can go down about nuclear weapons. But all that stuff's tied into him. And so his brain is cut up in 200 pieces in a museum, and his eyeballs are in a safe deposit box.
This mistake of his life. When Albert Einstein developed his equation of general relativity, he found that the equations predicted an expanding universe, something that was not known to astronomers back then. Einstein also believed that the universe was static, and he didn't want his equations to predict an expanding universe. So he added a small number, the cosmological constant, which acted like a repulsive force that balanced out the attractive force of gravity.
So it's the exact opposite what they teach you to be a good scientist. You're supposed to do the observations and go wherever it leads you. You're not supposed to say, well, this is where I want to go, so now I'll make the observations match. He literally inserted his own...
Like a repulsive force.
He literally inserted his own calculation here so it would match what he wanted it to be. So we're all working off of this theory of relativity that he created, which they admit he lied and put his own thing in there to make it what he wanted.
And he later called it his biggest blunder. But in recent years, scientists have revived the cosmological constant to explain a mysterious force called dark energy.
Right? Now, don't forget this. We used to talk about the ether, whatever that is. And, everything, all electrical impulses in this entire universe, whatever you want to call it, works through that. But science has said that doesn't exist. But they say dark energy exists. And how did they get it? From this mistake.
Is responsible for the accelerated expansion of the universe.
Albert Einstein had a massive influence on contemporary physics. His theory of relativity shifted contemporary understanding of space completely, along with EMC squared, is foreshadowed the creation of the atomic bomb. And so he's involved in all these things and all theories, and some of them proved that he lied in his theory. So there's that. You think pandas are sus? He invented sus. And then where this guy ended, this guy picked up. Stephen Hawkins. Hawking. I don't know what his name is anymore. It's a Mandela thing. It's weird. Here's a guy that has a disease that everyone dies within, I don't know, the first, under 20. But instead, this guy, I mean, what did he live to, like in his 80s or something? I don't even know. 70s? It's nuts. He's the only guy ever that did it. And so what did he do? He expanded on this with the Big Bang and the black holes. And it's just more nonsense to hide the existence of God in the world we live in and to make everyone think we're on a ball flying through space still. It's just to continue the lie with a person that's, more relevant than Einstein was, and so the black hole theory, the Big Bang theory, the Hawking radiation, the multiverse, the Marvel universe grabbed onto that. So what do you have? You have what I believe is the Emperor's New Clothes. And if you know what that is, that's that children's story where these two guys duped the emperor into thinking that they were taking all his gold and making it into clothes, but you couldn't see them. And only smart people could see him and the stupid people couldn't. And so he ends up walking through the town with barely anything on. I mean, I think he's naked in the original one, or underwear. And the whole town has to pretend that they see it because nobody wants to be called stupid. And so that's where I believe we are with this guy. Because if you have seen any of these videos, in the beginning, when he ended up in his state of mind that he's in here, he didn't have the special chair that was created just for him, that he talks through the computer. He would go around with this guy, who is a Stephen Hawking's interpreter. And so Stephen Hawking would say,
even though he had to use a student to interpret his failing speech.
All right, everyone in the chat, now type out what he said. Oh, you don't know what he said? Don't worry, we have an interpreter.
You wouldn't see anything special if you passed inside the black hole. But once you pass a certain critical point.
That guy can understand him perfectly. He's the Stephen Hawking's whisperer. Okay? That's how he started. But then after a while, they must have thought, okay, nobody's really going to believe that this guy can interpret that. So now you introduce this dude, Dennis H. Klatt. What is he famous for? He's the guy that created the speech synthesizer that Hawking's used, or Hawking, whatever. Sick of trying to figure out his name. The only time we've ever used it. Where is anyone else using it? I've never seen anyone else discussing they're using this system. The only other time you ever saw it was, where's my guy? Somewhere over here. Was on Star Trek. They had this thing. But Captain Pike, all he could do is beep.
They wanted to visit you.
That's it. That's all he could do. But not Hawking's, nay. He had this guy create this speech box thing for him.
King wishes to speak. He lost his voice a couple of years ago and now has to use a voice synthesizer, and he can control a squeeze box in his hand.
Okay, so he's got like worse than an Atari joystick that he's working in his hand.
And on the VDU screen on the arm of his chair, he's got a vocabulary which scrolls through, and he can pick out the words that he wants. And these words are then assembled into a sentence. And when the sentence is ready, then he can process it through the voice synthesizer.
Okay, so that all sounds wonderful, but it's like the moon call. He does it so fast in live time.
So whenever you're ready, Professor Hawking, we'd like to hear from you.
Do you see him moving his button? I don't.
In the last 300 years, we have discovered the laws that govern the universe in all but the most extreme conditions.
How did he say all that and he didn't even move his finger? Give me a break. The emperor has no clothes. And then if you think the interpreter was nuts and you think this is nuts, oh, nay, we're not done. Then as he went farther down this,
Since that the words or phrases don't appear on the list, one can always resort to spelling them out. Letter.
My question is, which big questions within the field of physics do you think will get resolved in the next 10 years?
okay, at this point, he's lost the movement in his hands. Now, you saw that child or whoever it was ask him the question, and he does the answer pretty fast, I think. It's kind of like space. They give you a little bit of, moon distance before the answer comes through. And then
My work is in gravitation and cosmology.
So how did he do that? Well, it gets even crazier because once he lost the ability to push that little button, they came up with this thing. This is what he used in the end. Do you see that? This little contraption touches his cheek, and by moving his cheek in the littlest amount, it would pick up the words that he wants and put them on the screen. That's what they're saying made Stephen Hawking's voice. And that's how you get this.
Gravitation and cosmology.
Because this little thing is touching his cheek. And so that's how he's answering these questions. Just wild to me that people accept the fact that that little thing connects to his computer so he can speak.
There's significance.
To meet the demands from science fiction for things like hyperspace drives, wormholes, or time travel.
Are we buying this? Because I'm not. Are we buying this? That little thing made it so he can make all those sentences and answer these questions. It's nuts.
To be a pop culture icon?
I won't feel like a true pop culture icon.
Now listen to this one. Look how quickly, see, they forgot. It's just like the moon stuff. They forgot that they're supposed to have a delay.
Pop culture icon?
I won't feel like a true pop culture icon until I've been on.
So he immediately has the answer. How's that? How's he doing it in live time? It's all nonsense. Emperor has no clothes. So, and never have I heard about anyone else using this technology that was invented by Dennis H. Klatt. It's only for this guy because they needed him to push their new science, whatever. All right. So there, that's my Stephen Hawking, and Einstein. I think they're both sus. I think they were both put here just to throw out those theories to continue the lie that they teach us about space.
500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat.
Satellite transfer complete.